are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. We are live here in the desert in Phoenix Raceway, ready to rock and rumble with the Western States Racing League. Going to be 125 laps here at the track that up until last year held the championship race for the Cup Series. I'm Liam Mervin, joined up in the booth by Mike DeMoney. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Can't wait to see what these guys can do getting back to oval racing here tonight.
Yeah, last week at COTA was definitely a change of pace from what we've been dealing with all season so far. We've had some short tracks, we've had some super speedways, got that road course in there. Now we're coming back to another oval, a shorter one with a funky shape. Of course, the start-finish line here just in that small dog leg. It's going to be a fun time, though, here. Phoenix is always a good time. These guys will be cutting that dog leg as much as they can. Trying to shorten the distance around this racetrack. And you'll probably see some guys below the yellow line in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is going to be a little bit tighter, though.
Yeah, definitely 3 and 4 is going to be where I'm going to say where most of the accidents probably are going to wind up happening, especially coming out of 3 there. we'll see. We'll see how these guys handle it. But I mean, last week we were at the road course, and Matt Sisler took advantage and wound up getting his second win on the season.
Yeah, strong start to the season here for Matt Sisler so far. We're going to see if he can keep some of that momentum up. Looks like he is here today. He's put down a lap of 27:57.
Yeah, that's going to put him back half of the field. We do have a full field tonight. Looks like there's going to be over 30 drivers set to take part here. This is the 7th round of their 20-race season. They do drop the 3 lowest scoring races, so points will kind of shake up just a little bit. Right now, sitting on top of the season standings is going to be that number 14 Toyota of Bob Beltrami. But it is a long season and still have, over half of it to go.
Yeah, that's going to be important to try to maximize these weeks. I mean, you don't want to. You're going to have to use those drop weeks, but you don't want to have to use them early. If you get yourself a DNF or a bad finish, it kind of forces your hand on using one of those drop weeks. Now, I mean, it's almost like a timeout at the end of a half. You want to try to be as strategic and methodical with using those as possible. You'd ideally be looking at a 1 or 2 point difference instead of a DNF.
Yeah, I mean, a DNF, you automatically know that's where your drop week's going to be. If you can get, a 10th to 15th, maybe it's good enough to hang on. And if you do happen to run a little bit better later in the season, it's going to boost your points just a little bit here. Looks like we got about 30 seconds left in qualifying, and a handful of drivers have not came out on track yet.
Yeah, 28 drivers have put down a lap. 6 drivers have not yet. We'll see if some of these guys are going to put down a lap, if they're going to get ready to grid here. Getting towards the end here, it looks like, surprise, surprise, Jacob Jensen is going to have the fastest lap here, and he actually had it by a good margin, 27 flat over Jeff Hollingsworth, 27:15. That could spell disaster for the field.
Jeff Hollingsworth, Shane Jensen, and Bentley Glazer all up there with that 27:15.
Well, this is going to be a competitive race for sure. Seems like it's definitely going to be competitive for second if qualifying times are anything indicative of what we are going to see here over the next 125 laps. Well, it seems like as the drivers get ready, they get in the cars, get them fired up, locked and loaded. We'll go ahead and show you who is starting where here today. On the pole, Jacob Jensen with Jeff Hollingsworth to his outside. Blazing fast lap for that Jensen machine. We've got Shane Jensen in third with Bentley Glazer to his outside. Chris Walker and Jeff Wills make up row number 3, followed by Scott Patton and Ryan Patty. Ryan Steele and Charlie Widener making up your top 10 here, followed by Brian Barnes and Bob Beltrami, your points leader, coming into round number 7. Chad Stearns, a multi-time race winner here with Earl Weaver to his outside, and Julian Ritchie goes side by side with John Kenyon in row number 8. Charles Woods and Paul Crumray in row number 9. Rounding out your top 20 is going to be William Fletcher and Troy Campbell. Matt Sisler, last week's winner, with Heath Smith to his outside. Todd Miles and Ricky Bozer making up 23 and 24. David Weaver and Dustin Burns in row number 13. Followed by our own Alan Bergen and Keith Hovda, the final driver to put down a lap time. Scott Kukas and Keith Kelman in the top 30 with Barry Phil and James Dewar behind him. Wayne Fleet and Fred Williams will be the last 2 on the grid in row number 17. Though it looks like Troy Campbell and Fred Williams are the 2 drivers who did not make the grid. So we're going to have 32 take the green flag. We'll see if those guys get onto the track and potentially start this race from the pit lane. Not the worst strategy in the world if you're maybe inexperienced in this league and you don't know what to expect in this first couple of corners.
Yeah, I mean, you guys see all these guys up there, and you see the just how many starts, how many seasons they've been here. It can be intimidating, so take that time, get back towards the back and see what these guys can go. But I'll hand it over to you, Liam, to bring them to the green.
Yeah, that pace car's already made that hard left turn. This is one of the longest waits you're going to have before the green flag. It gives you one last chance to take a little sip of water, get yourself adjusted in the seat, get those last second preparations as they get into the zone. Jacob Jensen leads them down. Green flag is in the air. And all the way down to the bottom, he's going to go. We're racing here in Phoenix.
Yeah, and see how much track he used up coming out of that dogleg there, just trying to get as much, cut the dogleg as much as possible. You'll see that happen all night. He's got a little bit of a lead, 0.3 of a second, kind of single filed out through the next 3 or 4 rows there. Scott Patton's going to be battling with the 8 of Shane Jensen.
I can't say I'm super shocked that it's kind of spreading out a little bit early. It's a huge field here at a small track. These guys try to mind their P's and Q's, give a little bit of space where it's necessary, and get back on it as William Fletcher's got around in the back. Car number 28. He's going to bring out the caution here for the first time today as he makes a little spin coming up through turns 1 and 2. Doesn't look like there's much damage on that truck. He's going to drive it away. Nothing hurt but his tires and his pride. See what happens.
Yep.
Oh, just mid corner, got sideways. Good job to spin it back down after that overcorrection. It kind of got sketchy.
Yeah, everybody was able to get around, so.
Jacob Jensen's going to lead these first couple of laps. Jeff Hollingsworth remains in second, actually the top 3. Bentley Glazer was able to get around Shane Jensen along with Scott Patton. Quick little start and stop here.
That tends to kind of happen here at Phoenix. You get that first lap, and I think the second or third, I don't know what it is, but they just start sliding just a little bit. And luckily for Fletcher, he was able to gather that truck back in. It looks like not too much damage was done to anybody as they were all able to get around. So
I think some of it could have to do with the tires still not quite heating up yet. We've got ourselves a let's take a look at some of this weather we got right now. It's a 78-degree day. Track temp sitting at 82, so that's not outrageous, but it's not going to be super. It's not going to heat up the tires as quick as maybe a 100-degree track would. So cold tires are definitely still a possibility here, and wonder if that's what happened there with that 28.
yeah, it might be just a little bit. Lights are out on that pace car as we get stacked back up and get ready to let these guys get back to green flag racing here.
Yeah, these guys got to double up kind of quick in comparison to other racetracks here, just where that pit lane entry is. Although it looks like we're going to go single file with the caution happening here on lap number 2. As is standard for the Western States Racing League. This time we're going to have ourselves a bit more of a spread out restart. Jensen's going to be able to kind of pick whatever lane he wants to. He's probably going to start up top and shoot straight to the bottom. Well, you can color me incorrect because he is staying on the bottom. Into the zone, he gets going, and now he drops down, and look at that run he gets. Huge gap on Jeff Hollingsworth here already, and Bentley Glazer caught him sleeping down there on the bottom.
Glazer able to make his way around.
Caution is out once again. I believe Paul Crumray, big crash towards the back. Heath Smith is in it, the 44. I think Paul is upset. Sean Kenyon getting on the radio as well. Caution out very quickly here for the second time. This time we didn't even make it through turns 1 and 2. Let's see what happened. Smith all the way down on Crumray.
Oh,
Already just came up. 04 of, I think that was Brian Barnes, got a piece of that as well. Dustin Burns.
Dustin Burns, yeah. Dustin Burns making his, making his 200th start here in the Western States Racing League tonight.
Well, it didn't start out the way that he's wanted it to so far, but we're going to see what they can get done in the pits here. Hopefully get some of that front end damage pulled out. Maybe didn't do too much to the radiator here. We're going to take a ride on board with him as you see them way up front on the left side. There's that initial contact, and yeah, really just nowhere for him to go. That was a pretty hefty hit to the front end too. Back up front, it is still Jacob Jensen. We are going to restart single file once again. Lights are still on for the pace car. Top 23 is yet to make a pit stop here in the first 7 laps.
One thing I want to point out, I don't know, but the NASCAR rules would not allow Jacob to do what he's doing. But here at iRacing, apparently you can get away with that.
This is true, yeah. NASCAR generally doesn't like you shifting lanes before start-finish line, but I think technically iRacing, unless you're using the restart box, which I know these guys are, but you could set it up to just once the pace car goes in, it's
you can just go
on the leader.
Yeah, when iRacing was having issues with the restart box, they definitely went to that, but I mean, usually you can't go below the yellow line until after the start-finish line. That's how, can't remember who it was, got a EOL.
I've seen Truex get in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody at Phoenix on a restart, but
You know,
we shall see. Paul Crumray and Heath Smith still in the pits. James Stewart, David Weaver, Todd Miles. All laps down at this point. Todd Miles might be out of this thing. Green flag back in the air, and this time a little bit more uniform start up front. Glazer able to stay with that 64 fairly closely, and they all go straight down to the bottom of the racetrack.
now cut as much ground as they can. Like John
Looking to the
Kenyon's
inside of Hollingsworth.
It looks like John Kenyon's headed to the pits.
Yeah, I think he's we got a black flag there for something. Side by side here with Hollingsworth and Patton. This is a battle for third, just behind Bentley Glazer. Outside lane seems to get a little bit of momentum here in turns 1 and 2, and that's going to allow Patton to get in front of Hollingsworth. Trying to chase down that second place, Bentley Glazer. Coming up off of turn number 4. That's 11 laps complete. Got a couple of them done under green consecutively now. Fastest lap of the race goes to Jacob Jensen that last time around with 27.46. So about half a second off of where he qualified, but you can't expect qualifying numbers every lap in the race.
No, but he's definitely found his way around the track. He goes all the way up to that wall, turns down, cuts that dogleg as much as he can. And when they go across that dogleg, you can see that the right side of those trucks kind of catch a little bit of air as they're bouncing off of the track down on that apron and then back onto the track.
Yeah, it can really upset the truck. You know, you got to try to keep the wheel as straight as possible. You don't want to get that thing sideways going over that transition. It's definitely easy to do at a track like this with an aggressive transition like that, and you see it just there. Some 3 wide action here. The 30 of Ryan Patty. He's got Julian Ricci to his inside, now in a double wide battle.
Yeah, Chad Stearns was able to get by. Bob Beltrami just in front of these guys. Bob Beltrami's looking to make his 1,300th start here in the Western States Racing League next week.
That is an absolutely insane number, and he's going to do it in Las Vegas, I believe, where you can really take a gamble on some things. Can you imagine getting the win and start 1,300? I mean, that's a lot of starts in anything. But to be able to do it consistently with the same league that these guys have been running for so long, that is incredible.
Yeah, Bob's always one of the first guys to point out everybody else making their big number start, start 100, start 200 and stuff, and kind of forgets about himself, but he's been putting this thing on for a ton of seasons, season 54 right now, so I mean, amazing job for these guys.
I'll take a look at Ryan Steele now in that number 24. Currently sitting in the 6th position, up 3 spots from where he started, just inside the top 10. Right now looking at Shane Jensen, who started in 3rd, has fallen back a couple of spots. Still staying quick.
Yeah, Shane Jensen definitely had that qualifying speed. Not quite the same race pace, but still hanging on here, has himself a nice, comfortable spot. As he takes the dogleg, you can see behind him, Ryan Steele is one of the only drivers that's staying on that racing surface, not cutting the dogleg, just kind of rolling around just inside the track limit there.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be hurting his lap times. He's just about a 10th off of what the race leader's doing. He seems to be chasing down Shane. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Might even be better on the tires later on in the run.
Looking back through the field, looks like we have Brian Barnes trying to get to the inside of Julian Ricci. It is for a spot just outside the top 10, running 13th right now.
Barnes trying to work that inside lane. Ricci hoping for the run up on the outside. Barnes going to get clear. Here comes Ricci down for the crossover. Not quite enough to get under braking underneath the Ford. He's going to slide back in line at 14th, try to keep that 98 behind him, Charles Woods. Matt Sisler doing a pretty good job working his way up through the field just behind Charles there. He's up 5 spots from where he started, just outside the top 20. Well, side-by-side action just in front of these guys. I believe it's Jeff Wills and Chad Stearns. Bob Beltrami on the bottom of this 3 wide. Almost 3 wide. Wasn't quite sure Stearns was clear there. And I'm not sure if Jeff Wills knew either. It looked like he checked up just a hair.
Checked up just a hair, trying to stay out of the way a little bit there. Stearns goes back to the bottom, going to try and battle back on the inside of Beltrami, take away that dogleg position here. And Chad's going to cut it clear down to the wall.
Stearns has really been trying to work over Beltrami here for the last 5 or 6 laps. He's finally able to get the job done. Gets himself up into 8th, but Beltrami's not going to want to let him drive too far away.
Looks like we have Alan Bergen in the pits, so not sure what happened to him, but getting some repairs there. Looks like Miles and Krumrei are out. Keith Smith still getting some work done in the pits.
Krumrei, Todd Miles look to be out of this race. Keith Smith still getting some repair work done in there, hoping to maybe get some more points towards the end. If it does become a battle of attrition, you know, those points could be very valuable and potentially avoiding using a drop week later on. Or not using it this time so you can use it for later on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's quite a bit of race left. So if you can, you know, kind of get back out on track, log some laps, maybe have somebody else have some bad luck, you'll get a couple points, and that could be the difference in, you know, having to use a drop week and not. Looking at the biggest movers so far in the race, both Wayne Fleet and Barry Phil up 12 spots here. You see Matt Sisler go to the inside of Julian Ricci.
That was an aggressive move getting into turns at 3 and 4. Ricci able to stay to his outside through those corners, but now coming up off of 1 and 2 puts Sisler up one more. He's going to get up to 14th position. He now sets his sights on Brian Barnes in the 4 in front of him. Barnes and Patty are starting to close in on each other, and Patty scraped the wall a couple of times these last few laps.
Ooh, yep.
Getting into turn 3, or getting into turn 1 rather, trying to set up his arc. Not sure if that's allowing that 4 to close in, or if it's just kind of circumstantial there. But Ryan Barnes trying to close in to take away this 12th place from Ryan Patty.
Yeah, definitely trying to stay with him. Like Ryan Steele is able to get by Shane Jensen for that top 5 position here. Shane Jensen trying to hang on here.
Yeah, and with the way that this race is trending, it's going green right now. Is that thing's not handling well early on, it's going to be a struggle. You're not going to want to make a green flag pit stop until you absolutely have to. Well, Shane trying to work his way back down to the inside here with Steele. Got a nice run through the middle of turns 1 and 2, but the outside lane going to be beneficial for that 24. Coming through the final set of corners. Jensen all the way back down once again, though. He's not done.
Now trying to cut that track as much as he can, carry that speed, but it's just not quite enough. As Steele seems to have his line down pretty well here as he's been able to improve his position from the start of the race. He's only up 4 spots, but his lap times look like they've been consistently, you know, about the same every time. So he's not losing time, but he's not really gaining time either.
And Ryan Steele is a guy that you expect to get better and better as these races progress. He always seems to find himself getting towards the front of the field when the laps are winding down, as Shane now is trying to work the inside once again. I would expect Steele to keep on moving forward here. He's trying to hold on to this top 5 spot. Shane Jensen gets a little bit of loose. Those guys might have rubbed doors getting into the corner, and that's going to allow Chad Stearns and Charlie Widener to close in a little bit. Now they work to the outside of Shane Jensen.
Yeah, that right there was Ryan Steele saying, "Get away from me." The first time he's cut the dog leg all night, and he just went almost half a second in front of Shane Jensen there.
Yeah, he didn't look like he was playing around.
Yeah, no, I think he saw Chad Stearns and Charlie Widener coming up and went, "I cannot be battling side by side." As he stays up on the track once again, Stearns cuts that dog leg, and he is closed in to within a quarter of a second of Steele here.
Yeah, really starting to put the pressure on for that top 5 spot. These guys have a lot of laps on their tires now, over 30, and 25 of those have been under green flag conditions, about 24 of them in the last consecutive order. These guys really getting some heat into their tires. They're going to start to see them slip and slide, and this is going to be crucial. This is going to be where you start to see a guy like Jacob Jensen start to drive away from Bentley Glazer, or vice versa. Maybe Glazer finds that extra bit of pace to get around the 64 at the midpoint. But we always talk about comers and goers based on tire wear. Seems like this might be a good opportunity for that to start coming about, as these guys have fallen off just about a second from where their fastest laps were.
Yeah, definitely going to be something to pay attention to as Stearns gets by Ryan Steele. Also, I believe we're going to be getting closer to that pit window, so we'll see what or who kind of used up their tires a little bit quick. Maybe they come down pit lane a little sooner than some of the other drivers.
Yeah, we'll definitely see if that undercut works. Maybe we'll see some guys try an overcut. Could we see guys try to push it to halfway and try to make this a one-stopper?
Yeah, I'd imagine the pit window is going to be somewhere. These guys are probably going to come down probably within the next 10 laps or so if they're going to, kind of make 2 stops.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have 80% fuel.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't have Larry Mack's calculator tonight.
I don't either. I just I went by they have 3 sets of tires in the pits, so usually that means it's a couple stops and they have an extra set there, so we'll see how right it becomes. If we do see somebody try and make it a one-stop race, look for Ryan Steele to do that. He seems to be the driver here. If anybody's going to try a one-stopper or a fuel strategy race, he's going to be the guy to try it.
Yeah, definitely a guy who likes to make things exciting, as now we see some lapped cars, or Dustin Burns, rather, going a lap down. Scott Kukas not too terribly far in front, and the cautions come out. Ryan Patty, Chris Walker have gone around just inside the top 10. Down the front straight, or down the back straightaway, rather. Is it going to bring out the caution here? And this changes things in that pit window for sure.
Completely. I'd imagine everybody's going to come down. Let's see if we can take a look, see what happened here. Oh.
Patty was up the racetrack for some reason.
I think Patty was coming down pit lane.
It's a very interesting place to do so.
Oh, no, lost it.
We got big sideways behind Kelman. Yeah, I think he kind of crowded that 23 down a little bit. Maybe trying to give the outside up or just to get the power down, but either way, a little bit of contact made, a slow, lazy spin for the 30. Doesn't look like much damage on either truck, but they're going to come into pit either way.
I assumed everybody was going to come in there. And that pretty much
like
makes
Alan
it
Bergen
a 2-stop race.
Yes. Looks like Alan Bergen has packed it up. That leaves us with 28 drivers still in this race out of the 32 that took the green flag. 24 of those drivers are still on the lead lap. believe Dustin Burns should have gotten the free pass there. Lights are off on the pace truck already. We're getting doubled up this time. The field seems a little bit spread out. Let's see. These guys are a little bit late in getting doubled up.
Yeah, they're a little late getting doubled up, and watch for the 12 to head down pit lane as soon as that green flag is dropped.
Yeah, that's Scott Patton there, and that it's showing 12 on the scoring, 46 on the screen. He's going to have to come in and make that green flag penalty, sir. Green flag in the air. Jensen gets away. He gets down early. Scott Patton all the way at the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see how he does this. He goes way down. Bentley Glazer up on the top side. Patton moves down the racetrack. He's just, oh, trouble. Jeff Wills sideways in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And around goes Widener and Bob Beltrami. And Scott Kukas gets turned down the front straightaway with the 48 of Bozer. What in the world? Wayne Fleet in the middle of this mess as well.
Wow.
And it looked like, I'm not sure if the 95 and the 14 made contact, but it did look like they were kind of synchronized spinning coming up off of the corner. So if they didn't hit, they definitely both got on the gas on cold tires. Julian Ritchie saying 4 of us spun at once. That was strange. But yeah, you're going to see Patton comes in here. Yeah, they just had separate spins coming up off of the corner. I'm not sure if Wills was maybe the 4, or Ricci and Wills were the 3rd and 4th that got sideways there, but we saw Wills. Those are getting a piece of that James Dewar, nowhere to go.
Oh, Ricci.
Wills was already sideways, and then Ricci gave him a tap. Good save there by that 74. Avoiding the pit wall and then avoiding the 95 along with the other contact. But technically, Scott Patton was not able to complete his green flag penalty.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
Very unfortunate loophole with the iRacing penalty service. If the caution comes out, well, I mean, there are certain penalties that you have to serve under grade. You can't get a drive-through and then have it changed to an EOL.
Yeah, he just barely was not in pit lane.
Tough break there for Patton. Let's see if he is able to recover, move forward from this. Another quick caution here. That's going to lead us to another single file restart. Lights are off on the pace car, making that hard left turn once again. Cool thing about short tracks, Mike, is we don't spend a lot of time under caution.
Yeah, not the 2.5 minutes we would have at Coda.
2.5 minutes is a full pace race lap. I'm kidding, it was more like 140, but still. Long laps.
Crazy.
Coming back around into the restart zone, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Green flag back in the air. Jensen gets away strong, but Glazer a little bit better this time than last.
Yeah, Glazer trying to stay right with him through that dog leg. Chad Stearns, though, not letting Glazer get away. Has that 05 Toyota right to his inside as they come down the backstretch.
Chad Stearns started outside of the top 10. He's gained 10 spots. We've seen him moving forward throughout the early part of this race. I expect him to be strong, to be stout. Might even have something for that 64. Well, Bentley Glazer has done a phenomenal job on that long green flag run. Did not let the 64 drive away. He stayed within about half a second of him. Got as close as about 0.2 of a second. Glazer might have something for him today, too. Trouble front straightaway. John Kenyon goes around. We're under caution for the 5th time here today. Around after turn number 2. Like we talked at the beginning of the show about how turn 4 was expected to kind of be that calamity corner, especially if we're racing around other guys, we expect to see some contact there. It really does seem like the midpoint of turns 1 and 2 on to the exit is really it's a real struggle for these guys.
Yeah, it seems like that is where they go to put that power back down. They're just a little too hard on that loud pedal, and that kind of spins it around.
I believe Scott Patton was able to serve his penalty that time around. He's going to get the free pass, get his lap back. Earl Weaver being shown with a black flag, along with Charles Woods, the 98.
John Kenyon get the lucky dog?
No, he spun out.
That's what I thought. But he's racing around past the pace car.
Oh. Then that I am not sure. I thought I heard Scott Patton got it.
Yeah, I thought if you caused the caution, you couldn't get it, but he raced around, and he is currently being shown in 23rd position.
Well, we're going to take a look at that. As we come back to a restart, going to be single file once again, kind of in the name of the game. We've had 2 double file starts, the initial start, and 2 cautions ago. Right before we saw Beltrami, Widener, Wills, and Ricci get sideways, and then a little bit more calamity down the back straightaway.
Black flags are out in force right now.
Yeah, I think John Kenyon might be getting a penalty for going around the pace car here. He's going to have to come in and serve that under a green flag condition, and will likely put him back down at 1 lap. Green flag back in the air. Jacob Jensen leads him away, but Bentley Glazer stays right up on his bumper this time.
Staying right with him is Glazer.
Jacob Jensen used up every inch of racetrack that he could. I think he just touched that wall with the right rear quarter. Getting away from Glazer a little bit that first time around. Gets his gap to about 0.3, 2 car lengths. Jensen gets loose there coming through turns 1 and 2. Mike, I know it's been like 10 years since they redid this track, but I'm still backwards.
Yeah, it's completely different than what it should be. I don't...
Double wide action here. Ryan Patty able to stay in front of Julian Ricci and Shane Jensen. But for how long? Ricci looks quick.
Yeah, Ricci trying to stay on there. Moving forward.
John Kenyon. We saw there momentarily John Kenyon got out of the pits after serving his penalty.
Yeah, Earl Weaver, John Kenyon, and Charles Woods all had black flags and all came in to serve their penalty. Scott Kukas also in pit lane at the moment.
A bit loose there for Shane Jensen coming up off of the corner. Oh, Julian got loose there to through 3 and 4.
Yeah, he got loose, and that's going to allow Brian Barnes and Chris Walker to start closing in.
Yeah, Walker tried to recover a little bit. He started up in the top 5. Saw him get turned around earlier on. Or maybe not turned around, but caught up in one of those earlier incidents. Working his way back up, sitting just inside the top 10, running 9th right now. He's currently under fire from Jeff Hollingsworth in that 97.
And Chris Walker had a catch a moment as he has now fallen back a couple spots after battling up here towards the front. Charlie Widener trying to make a recovery drive here as he is running 15th.
Big move down to the bottom of the 92. Going to take it from Keith Hovda, getting into turns 1 and 2 here. Top 3 within half a second of each other still.
Yeah, they're not going away. Everybody's kind of playing some good defense here.
Don't look now. We got Ryan Steele getting in there as well. Worked his way up to 4th after starting in 9th. Slowly but surely being methodical about his approach to this race. Jacob Jensen got the wall. Coming up off of turn number 4. Not sure the significance of that contact, but it definitely cost him some time as now they start to get side by side for 2nd place. Jensen's going to love to see that.
Yeah, especially after catching that wall, seeing those guys side by side allows him to regain the gap that he had on them. Slides back up. He keeps wanting to get that right rear quarter as close as he can to that wall as he turns down to cut that dog leg.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's trying to carry it down the hill to gain as much speed through the dogleg as he can, but it's definitely been working out for him so far today. Hasn't lost the lead yet.
Getting closer to
It
that.
seems like Jensen's got a stout 1 and 2. He seems to be able to drive away a little bit more there. Blazer's going to dive it in there and close in at the beginning, but center off. Seems to be advantage for Jensen.
Yeah, center off definitely does. And then the flat corner seems to be where Bentley Glazer is able to catch him. But then you come back up here to the start-finish line, and he drives away again.
Yeah, Chad Stearns once again putting pressure on the back of the 87, trying to find a way around him. Looks like he's trying to peek to the outside. I don't know. It's going to be tough to get around. Looks down to the inside now, coming up off of turn 2. Not quite enough there to outbrake him into turn 3, but staying close, keeping the pressure on. As he does that, though, Jacob Jensen drives away just a little bit more.
Almost even. I think Glazer has a little better drive off.
Yeah, Stearns can't use up all of the racetrack that he wants. Like, I just noticed it says Chad Stearns is from Chad. Or at least on the service, I think that's funny. Yeah, still about 3/4 seconds separating the top 4 now. That last time around, the quickest one of them was Ryan Steele sitting in 4th.
And these guys have a second and a half on the rest of the field at the moment. Bob Beltrami trying to get by Chris Walker as they go side by side.
Yeah, Matt Sisler just behind them trying to figure out which way is going to move. And now he's leaning towards Beltrami, and looks like the 14 will be able to get clear coming up off of the corner. Now Walker tries to set up a crossover. Not enough momentum to get it done, though.
Matt Sisler turning him. Good recovery
there by
there.
the 23. Wow. Might have a little something to say if those guys get next to each other again, but we shall see. We've got a long race to go.
Take a look at it real quick here. That was a heck of a save by the 23 here.
Yeah, Sisler touched the apron there, and Walker was just trying to close the door. Sisler had his foot in the door, though.
Definitely did. Bob Beltrami going to try and look to get by Julian Ricci. Oh, and go back up to the front as this is heated up quite a bit. Stern's able to get by Bentley Glazer through the dog leg.
Now, is he going to be able to put the pressure on Jacob Jensen here? He's worked his way up from 13th. His caution is out once again. Barry Phil, heavy damage to the front of that truck. Some heavy damage there. Let's take a look. He's probably going to have to jump that one back to the pits. Side by side with Fleet. Go through the dog leg and coming together there. Oh no, James DeWer gets caught up in another one. Coming in for pit stops. We're going to ride on board with the 44 here, see what he sees. It's got to be like the third or fourth incident that he's found himself involved in through no real fault of his own. Oh, man. Looked like he was staying high, and then it rolls down the racetrack.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those moments where you hope the other driver is holding their brakes.
Yeah.
Full sail pit stops.
Jensen wins the race off of pit road, but Chad Stearns was close. Jacob Jensen continues to lead this race. Working at lap number 70. Charles Woods, John Kenyon going to get a wave around to get some, or at least one of their laps back. Lights are off on the pace car, so those two will be allowed to do that. Should be getting doubled up here for this restart. Doubled up indeed. Jacob Jensen is out front. He's got Chad Stearns to his outside. Ryan Steele who's inside Ryan Patty. Shane Jensen. Bentley Glazer fell all the way back to 19th. Working the back straightaway. The pace cars made that hard left turn. 21 drivers on the lead lap as of right now. flag is in the air. Jacob Jensen gets away. He moves it down. He's going to have himself a couple of truck lengths before turn number 1, but Chad Stearns trying to come back with the fight.
Yeah, Chad Stearns staying up on that racetrack, trying to get as much power down as he can. Ryan Steele trying to get by Ryan Patty. Chris Walker looks like he's going around sideways.
Keith Hoebda involved in that one as well. Straight to the pits jumps Scott Patton, whose day has just gotten progressively worse as it has continued. Three trucks caught up in this one at least. Scott Patton down on the bottom of the racetrack. And the 23 and the 92 were kind of a separate deal from there. Patton just got hooked.
Oh, yep. Widener didn't even. The 92. Who's the 92?
Hoebda.
Hoebda. Yeah, he didn't have anywhere to go either. Let's take a look at this way. Right on board here.
Man. You know, he thinks for a second, all right, I got this thing cleared. Just before he can kind of wipe the sweat off his brow, it's launched to the left.
Yeah, he sees the 23 slide in front of him, thinks he's clear, and then all of a sudden the 42 comes sliding back across in front of him.
A really tough spot there. Nothing he can do. We're going to come to 50 laps to go next time they cross the stripe. Working the 7th caution of this Phoenix race. Above average number for sure. These guys are usually maybe 2 cautions. We've definitely seen some caution-free races at big tracks too. But did you get that too?
Looking at the history, they've raced here 8 times and have had, or 9 times and have 61 cautions.
Okay, so we're on par.
8 last time they were
It's a
here.
tough track.
Yeah, 8 last time they were here, but the 2 times before that they had 1 and 3. So,
We're kind of a mixed bag. We do also have a very large field in this race, and it does seem like these tires take a little bit of extra time to get the heat in them. That's something that a lot of these drivers have been struggling with. We've even seen Jacob Jensen get big sideways on the first lap or 2 after a restart. So, things to keep an eye on as we progress through the final 50 laps of this race. Jacob Jensen going to lead Chad Stearns, Ryan Patty, Ryan Steele, Jeff Hollingsworth, Shane Jensen up to 6th, Julian Ricci, Matt Sisler, Charlie Widener, Ryan Barnes. Bentley Glazer went from 19th to 14th in a corner and a half. See what he can do working his way back to the front into the restart zone. Jacob Jensen leads him down. Contact is made up front as they try to anticipate when that 64 is going to go. It's going to cost Chad Stearns just a little bit of time as now Ryan Patty looks to the inside. Going to see if he can try to make that pass for second. Now up on the outside of turns 1 and 2.
yeah, Ryan Patty was right on that rear bumper of Chad Stearns, going to cost him some time. Ryan Steele goes down to the inside.
Ricci, Hollingsworth, and Matt Sisler's going to get collected in that as well. They collect Widener. Turn 2 is Calamity Corner.
I don't think they like that corner.
I don't think the tires like it. Seems like they're doing everything they can to not rip.
Oh, Ricci gets
got a little
into
bit loose.
Hollingsworth. Glazer gets
Hollingsworth
by.
got a little bit loose and started to save it, but that shift in momentum. Ricci goes up and gets into the 97. Nowhere for Widener to go in there as well.
Yeah, he's a little bit loose and then just, yeah.
That system just got
Whistler.
plowed.
And then
Impacts
Widener.
on both ends.
Well, let's take a look at something a little different here. Here's the restart, looking back at Patty from Chad Stearns. Everybody definitely trying to anticipate that restart a little more here.
Well, Jensen's been virtually flawless on these restarts, so I can't say I'm super shocked with that. These guys got to try to find some way to get an advantage on him. Going through the gears might be the best time if you can time that restart out, but it's tough. I mean, the leader chooses when you go. They're going to get first pick.
Yeah, and most of them have been single file restarts, so that definitely does not help your cause.
Speaking of single file restarts, we get another one coming our way. Jacob Jensen out in front, I believe, for all 78 circuits completed today.
No.
Oh, Jeff Hollingsworth led one.
Had one lap.
One lap. Pace truck makes that hard left turn once again. Getting the restart on lap number 80. Going to be 46 to go when we take the green. Jeff Hollingsworth has packed it up on the hauler. Look at that last incident. Green flag in the air. Jensen goes right away. He jumps down right away. And I have not seen him get this low this early all race long.
Yeah, no, he went straight to the bottom even before.
Caution out already, Julian Ritchie. Let's try to get a quick look at this. Ricci tried to make a move up on the outside. Perfectly legal. You are allowed to pass on the outside, and either the 46 didn't know he was there, or he knew exactly what he was doing.
What? I don't think it was for position or anything.
Nope.
Earl Weaver just, I don't know, didn't think he was going to be there.
I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and pay some bills while we have a moment here, though, and get those Premier boys a little shout out.
Yeah, we'll be right back after this.
Premier Racing Setups is the longest running setup shop on iRacing. Our monthly subscription options start as low as $20 a month. We offer setups for dirt oval, asphalt oval, and road racing, covering a wide range of cars and skill levels. Built and tested by top-tier sim racers, this isn't just a business, it's a community of competitive drivers. If you want to better your iRacing experience, head over to PremierRacingSetups.com today. And remember, if you don't get one, you're going to chase one.
Back here just in time for the restart here at Phoenix Raceway, the WSRL. Gonna have just over 40 laps to go, 42 as they cross the stripe. Jensen gets another good restart as Chad Stearns once again has to defend from Ryan Patty. Caution is out once again. Keith Kelman has gone around. Julian Ricci is around another one. It's our 10th caution of the race. Not sure if that one truck's making a lot of friends right now.
I'm going to say that's a negative. So 10th caution of the night.
Jacob Jensen has had himself a leisurely drive here tonight. Just got about here for a cruise, 55-mile-an-hour road. $40 laps to go this time around.
Yeah, definitely going to need to get some green flag laps logged here if we're going to want to finish this race before time runs out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we still got 40 minutes. I think. Still got a ways to go.
Yeah, we got a little ways.
iRacing.com pace car leads the field. Probably the only one who's led more laps than Jacob Jensen here tonight. Lights are off, though. Going to get ready for yet another restart. Chad Stearns, Ryan Patty, Ryan Steele, and Shane Jensen in the top 5. Charlie Widener up to 6th, and Brian Barnes. Bentley Glazer has been able to get back up to 8th after whatever issue he had on his pit lap. William Fletcher and Bob Beltrami back in 9th position. $18 drivers still on the lead lap. Hard left turn being made by the pace car once again. Earl Weaver and Matt Sisler both being shown 1 lap down. John Kenyon has been able to get 3 of his laps back, so that puts him down 3 at this point. Getting towards the end of this thing, the final 39 miles, 38 miles, when we get the green flag. And this time Jensen moves him up. Waited a little bit there. Chad Stearns stays right with him.
Shane Jensen cut down before anybody else. Hopefully he didn't make a pass before the start-finish line. Looks like he is good. Looks like Julian Ricci has a black flag, so he'll have to come down and serve that when they hit the pit lane.
Well, that's actually Jeff Wills with the black flag in the 74. He comes down to serve that. Barry Phil has gone around. We are under caution for the 11th time today.
If you are turning in and watching, this is not typical for the Western States Racing League.
Looks like Matt Sisler's going to get the lucky dog, get himself back on a lead lap. He was involved in an incident, let's say 3 or 4 cautions ago. Got some damage on the front and the back, but I got to say, Charlie Widener, he's impressed me at this point. He's up into the top 5. He was also involved in that same incident with Matt Sisler. Able to get his damage repaired quick and take advantage of some of these chaotic restarts here. Really excellent effort here out of Widener, who started in 10th. Been up as far as, I believe, in the top 3. Right now sitting in 5th.
Yeah, if you're Bentley Glazer or some of these other drivers kind of back towards the back, or got stuck kind of back towards the back, these half lap of green flag racing is not helping your cause.
No, I mean, especially with what we've seen Glazer able to do on these restarts. I mean, he's maybe had a total of 4 laps of racing since since he restarted in 19th, and he's been able to pass 12 cars. He can get a little bit more green flag laps. I mean, I think it's very possible he works his way back up into this top 5. Not sure if he'll have what it takes to get up there and race with Jensen. But who knows? Maybe as the sun has gone down and the track changes up a little bit, it might favor Glazer a little bit more. Lights are off once again. Track temp is down to 79, air temp at 73, so a little bit cooler here. The wind has stayed about where it's been. 91 laps complete. Jacob Jensen leads. He's led virtually all of them, except for the 33 laps that the pace car has led under the 11 cautions that we have seen today. Like Mike said, this is kind of atypical for the Western States Racing League. These guys oftentimes have races where there's only 1 or 2 cautions, green flag pit stops. Been a chaotic one here in the desert, though. These guys definitely getting antsy towards the end of this thing. Green flag back in the air. Jensen leads him down, and down the racetrack he goes. Chad Stearns trying to keep Patty behind him. Gets himself a nice run down the front straightaway. Under fire from William Fletcher in that 28 machine.
Bob Beltrami trying to make his way back up towards the front as well. Chris Walker trying to do a little recovery driving here in 11, trying to get inside the top 10 as he works the inside of David Weaver. Not quite enough speed to get even with him as they head through the dog leg.
Yeah, good hustle by that 23 crew. These guys are definitely getting their money's worth today. They've had to get some damage repair. They've been sideways. Speaking of sideways, there's Dustin Burns in the 04. We're going to stay green, but sideways coming up off of turn number 2. Chad Stearns just put down the fastest lap of the race. Jacob Jensen just put down his fastest lap, and it seems like here with the last 40 coming to last 30 laps, everybody thinks it's go time. Ryan Steele gets around Ryan Patty. Patty going to try to get that back. Hits the wall just a touch on entry into turn 3, and that's going to allow Charlie Widener a look to the inside. Is a look going to be enough as they go down the front straightaway through the dogleg?
Yeah, Widener trying to stay even with him, and he will do just that. Ryan Patty trying to stop the bleeding here as he has given up a couple positions since that restart. Tags the wall just a little bit, but maintains position in front of Charlie Widener.
Jacob Jensen's putting the hammer down. Got himself about a 3/4 second lead. We haven't seen this type of lead out of Jacob so far, but the caution's going to come out once again. Earl Weaver's around in the dogleg. This is caution number 12. Yeah, I'm not sure if that had anything to do with the initial spin that Ricci had. And in the cockpit there, you don't see him until last second, but you gotta be looking at the relative and just kind of know what's around you. Those two did have contact earlier on. Now we're getting some split strategy here.
I mean, you got to try something, right?
You do. I mean, Jensen's been unbeatable all day. I think it's a good call for Ryan Patty, who we saw started to kind of bleed out some positions there. Bentley Glazer, Charlie Widener. Of course, he's going to put Glazer back outside the top 10, but with 30-lap fresher tires, he might be able to do something. Maybe hang in there a little bit longer on the tires if they can stay green, but before that last caution, Jacob Jensen, he was only a couple tenths off of what his fastest lap of the race was. Fastest lap was a 27:35, and I believe the lap before the yellow was a 27:50. We're going to double them up for the third time today. Chad Stern's going to be on the outside. Ryan Steele inside of row number 2. The top 6 stayed out.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be Chad Stern's best chance to get Jacob Jensen here.
Into 3 and 4, Jensen leads him down. Stearns, he's going to try to stay right with him. Green flag is in the air. Jensen gets a strong jump all the way down to the bottom. Stearns can't quite get down because Ryan Steele might be there. Chaos ensuing on that restart there.
I'm saying it almost looked like Jensen kind of caught Stearns sleeping. Bouncing off the wall. Looks like that was
Ryan Patty in the 30.
Patty, yeah, just in front of Bentley Glazer.
Guys all came in on lap number 97. See what kind of lap times they can put down. They're in traffic right now. We're looking at Ryan Patty, Bentley Glazer. Glazer moves down to the inside to try to take away 9th place from David Weaver. He's going to get that pass completed. He's on pace with the race leader, even in traffic. Got 2.5 seconds to go and 25 laps to get there, 24. 23 when we cross at the stripe. Shane Jensen gets into the wall just a little bit, trying to look down to the inside of Bob Beltrami. It's going to be for 4th place. Doesn't quite have enough, as here comes Julian Ritchie to the back of Shane Jensen. All the way to the bottom goes that one machine. Ryan Patty has caught this group trying to look to the outside of Julian Ritchie. Ritchie gets up into the wall. I think Glazer trying to follow through as well. Patty right up next to the wall, trying to get Julian Ricci. Brian Barnes all the way on the bottom. Patty's going to move to the middle.
3 wide.
going to try to cut down in front of Bentley Glazer so he can keep that run on Brian Barnes in the 4. A little bit more wall contact. Where does Bentley Glazer go? He's going to have to check up a little bit earlier than he wants to. He's going to hold on to this bottom and try to stay side by side with Ricci. It's got to be frustrating, man. There's nowhere for him to go at the moment. Ricci's going to get cleared by Barnes. You know, he's going to be defensive now as Glazer looks down to the inside. Ricci going to try to pinch him down a little bit.
And Bentley Glazer trying to get some run there to get by Ricci. Just can't quite do it. Charlie Widener trying to help him as well. Glazer clear. Ricci tries to cross him over. Jumps down to the inside. Not enough speed. Slides back into line.
Oh, that was close there with Widener getting in front of Barry Phil, that slower truck. Matt Sisler there racing as well to the inside of Widener. They're going to try to work through Ricci as well. Sisler tries that bottom side once again. Tell you what, Ryan Patty, he's worked his way up into the top 5. He's been a little bit quicker than your race leader these last few laps. Charlie Widener down to the bottom side, trying to make a 3-wide move. Matt Sisler in the middle, Ricci up top.
3 wide, threw it in, and it's stuck there. They're still side by side, though.
Using the shorter way around the racetrack. Sisler trying to use the outside momentum to take that run. Who are they going to hit? They touched just a little bit coming up off of the corner, but all is fair here. They continue on straight. A bit of run on the outside for Sisler. Going to be able to take that momentum down the front straightaway. Extra wide line out of the 93 allows the 95 to slide up through the middle of the corner. That Sisler's almost got him cleared. Widener doesn't want to let him go, though.
And Widener's still fighting back.
And Sisler drove it in deep there, trying to get clear. It cost him time in the center. Now Widener fights right back on the outside.
Crossover from Sisler down to the inside. Back and forth battle here. Just inside the top 10.
Ryan Patty has worked his way up to 4th. He's been about 0.2 seconds quicker than the leader. Coming up to the last 13 laps, and he's closed in on 3rd place now. He's within a second of the race lead at this point. He has been consistently quicker than these guys in front of him. This thing is not over. How aggressive does that 30 DeWalt machine get as he tries to work through the top 3 with just 13 laps to go? Chad Stearns has also closed into the back bumper of Jacob Jensen.
This is going to start to be a battle here. 13 laps to go, and the margins get tighter and tighter here. And Bentley Glazer just got around Bob Beltrami, so he is going to start to close in as well.
Yeah, and if these guys start to get side by side, slow down, they could really benefit that 87 machine. 12 to go, coming to 11 this time by. Ryan Patty going to try to set up a move here coming up off of turn 2. Steele goes all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Patty moves up to the outside. He might have a fender up there. He's going to try to dive it in and keep it up on the outside. Look at that dive. He slides in the middle of the corner. Working the outside of Ryan Steele, coming up off at turn number 2. Got himself a lot of momentum. Gets clear for P3. Now he sets his sight on Chad Stearns in front of him.
And behind them, you saw Charlie Widener hit the wall. Got back going in the right direction. Lost a little bit of time there.
And he makes a run coming up off of turn 2. He's going to try that same move that he made last time around. Try to get a good amount of momentum coming up off of turn 4. Keep it off the wall there. Try to use that to chase him down into turn 3 and make a wide move. Get side by side with him.
Yeah, 30
Chad
truck.
Stearns is in a... So I was going to say he's both defending and attacking.
Yeah, that's got to be the worst part for Chad Stearns. But Ryan Patty has found something in this 30 truck as he has closed that gap. Bentley Glazer also closing in now within half second of Ryan Steele.
8 laps to go. Steele sits in third. Chad Stearns right on the rear bumper of Jacob Jensen. Top 5 all under a blanket as Bentley Glazer closes in on this battle. Here comes Patty looking up to the outside of Stearns. Not quite enough momentum to keep his fender there, but he might be able to get his nose up to the outside getting into this corner. Now he likes to set himself up. Stearns tries to take away that line. Here comes Patty looking down to the inside, sideways through turn 2. That's going to cost him that momentum. He's falling back in line.
Yeah, Patty definitely found a little bit of speed there, just couldn't quite keep it under him there. And that's going to allow Ryan Steele trying to get back to his inside. So now Patty's going to be on the defense. And Steele is also, as now Bentley Glazer has tossed his name into the ring.
Let's not forget Glazer and Patty both have about 30 lap fresher tires than the 3 drivers around them. Patty going to try it one more time. Looks to the outside of Chad Stearns. Going to try to keep his foot in it this time. That 99. Terrible timing to get to him right there. Barry Phil gets up into the wall. We're coming to 4 laps to go this time around. Jacob Jensen trying to keep the 05 and 30 behind him.
Trying everything he can. He has got a quarter-second gap now. But Stearns, Patty, Steele, and Glazer are still trying to close in.
I think if you're Patty, you've got to try to make this pass as quick as possible now. You cannot afford to wait. You've got a mirror full of the 24. You've only got 3 laps to go to catch up to that race leader. Those fresh tires won't be an advantage forever. 3 laps to go. Jacob Jensen started to drive away. He's got a couple of car lengths. He's trying to do what he can. Get himself enough of a bubble between him and second place so that the bumper can't be used.
And Jacob Jensen's running the fastest laps he's ran all race as far as getting that gap. He's out to almost a half second already.
2 more laps to go, and like you said, it's almost a half a second. Chad Stearns pulling away from that battle for third. Now here comes Steele to the inside of Patty to try to take it back. Bentley Glazer looks up to the outside, maybe try to get them both. And Stearns sits about 0.4 of a second behind Jacob Jensen, though. He's going to have the lap of his life to even have a chance. Steele to the inside of Patty. Patty makes the run up on the outside. 1 lap in the air, 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air. Jacob Jensen going to continue his run of dominance here in the Western States Racing League. He's got just a couple more corners to go. Chad Stearns gets sideways coming through turns 1 and 2. It's a about 4/10 back. It'd be an awfully huge send. Nothing Chad can do there. Jacob Jensen through the final 2 corners. Going to come up off of turn number 4, and he wins in Phoenix. Chad Stearns in second. Ryan Patty comes home third. Bentley Glazer in fourth, and Ryan Steele rounding out your top 5. Bob Beltrami, Charlie Widener, Shane Jensen, Matt Sisler, and Brian Barnes make it to the top 10. We're going to watch Jacob Jensen for, I believe, the 9th time in his Western States racing career burn it down. Burn it down on the blue paint.
He's going to burn it down everywhere.
May as well when you got a truck that fast. Interesting show here. Ricky Bozer will continue on, finishes 11th. William Fletcher in front of, or right behind him. Jeff Wills, Julian Ricci, Chris Walker, David Weaver, Wayne Fleet, Dustin Burns, John Kenyon, Keith Hope to round out the top 20. Keith Kelman, Barry Phil, James Dewar, Earl Weaver, Charles Woods, Jeff Hollingsworth, Scott Patton, Scott Kukas, Alan Bergen, Todd Miles, Paul Crumray, and Heath Smith round out the drivers who started. We'll go ahead and bring our race winner up into the booth. Jacob, it's Liam and Mike. You got a copy.
I got you. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, man. You guys had a phenomenal race here today. I think you led basically every lap. Our timing and scoring shows that Hollingsworth led one somewhere, but we're not quite sure where.
Yeah, it was a fantastic night. The car was just super fast all night. It started from qualifying to the end of the race. It just had a ton of speed. Chad gave me a run for my money, and then all the cars that came in on that last caution started getting up there. So it was definitely getting dicey towards the end of the race, but it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like you were able to pull out to the gaps that we've seen you pull out to before. I mean, I want to say that the largest gap that we saw you of a lead was about 7/10. Seemed like Chad and Bentley and those guys were really able to stick with you. How do you feel about the competition level of this race? And obviously we had a lot of cautions. What were those restarts like for you?
Yeah, the competition was just fantastic the entire night. It was a lot of fun racing Chad, Bentley, Scott when he was there. It was just a ton of fun the entire night. And all those restarts were definitely a challenge and definitely tricky to make sure that you could kind of surprise them, because you do so many of them, it's hard to surprise them anymore. So it was a lot of fun and just a crazy race.
Well, Jacob, I want to say this is your 9th win in the league. I might be incorrect, but you've showed up, you've conquered. Now next week we move to Las Vegas, a little bit more of a traditional intermediate track. What have you got for us? And if we could have you swing into also who helps you get it done on that 64 machine week in and week out.
Well, yeah, Vegas is definitely a tricky track. I'm not always super great at the intermediates. I somehow won it last season, but generally I'm not really good at these intermediate type racetracks. So we'll see what happens. The first few laps usually at Vegas is pretty flat out, and then it starts getting interesting. So see what happens, and hopefully next week we can have a good race. As for who helps me get it done, always got to thank the good Lord. Got to thank my dad. I think he got a pretty decent finish tonight. Got to thank my Uncle Leonard. Got to thank my family and friends. Got to thank all the people at TWRS. They're an amazing setup shop. I highly recommend them. And got to thank Bob and you guys for putting this thing together. It's just awesome.
Well, awesome stuff, Jacob. Congrats once again on the win, and I'll let you go and do some more celebrating.
Thank you very much. Have a nice night.
All right, looks like Chad Stearns is He doesn't usually like to talk to us after the races, so we'll go ahead and bring in Ryan Patty.
Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Hey there.
Well, that was a heck of a race and kind of strategy call there at the end. You elected to come in and look like get 4 fresh tires to try and find something for Jacob Jensen. How was it racing out there on that last green flag run?
Yeah, it was a blast. Honestly, these trucks really race well at Phoenix. So long as you give enough space between the high line and the low line. I mean, you probably saw you can even go 3 wide here. It was a ton of fun, and yeah, Jacob Jensen was a rocket tonight, and I felt like I didn't have any speed for him. Just flat out. Just I very rarely run the truck series, so I had a free night. I had a league that wrapped up earlier tonight. I figured I'd jump in this Western States Racing League event here at Phoenix, and luckily qualified in the top 10, maintained mostly track position, and like I said, I don't run these trucks often enough to know how to make them go as fast as Jacob, so I figured I'd peel off and grab some tires and see if I could steal a win here, because I'm basically just part-time hunting for trophies here wherever I can.
Yeah, definitely show up and you get a top 3 finish. Definitely found something at the end. Looked like you were able to kind of slide the corners just right to close in. Just not quite enough speed there at the end or enough time to catch Jacob. But other than that, I mean, terrific night. Before we get you out of here, who do you got to thank?
Yeah, I mean, big shout out to Bob Beltrami putting on this league. It's nice that this league's been going on for as long as it has. It's got a great reputation. He does a fantastic job keeping this thing, up and running, and at such a high level. And obviously, keeping the broadcast going every week isn't something that's easy to do. So we really appreciate Bob doing that. And thanks to you guys in the booth putting this broadcast out there. And give a shout out to my wife for covering the household while I'm doing this.
Definitely, man. Well, congrats once again, and we see you next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, that's going to about do it for us here after a wild race in Phoenix. 12 cautions for 36 laps, but Jacob Jensen got it done. Needs, I believe, 124 out of 125. Purely dominating performance. Chad Stearns got up to P2. Close, but not quite close enough to get to the back of Jensen. And then Ryan Patty, just talked to him, a little part-time action. P3, part-time podium.
Yeah, it definitely was a heck of a race. When we got some green flag laps, these guys definitely know how to get it done. Like Ryan was saying, some 3 wide action there. Once those tires kind of got warmed up to that right temperature, they were able to put on a show. Next week, though, head a little further north to Vegas and see what these guys can do there.
Yeah, Vegas is going to be a blast. Make sure you join us next Tuesday night. Same place, same time. We'll be looking forward to seeing you. But as always, like to quote Cletus, say, do it for Dale and be like Biff. Like to quote Tony, say, guys, walk through the streets of life. Please don't play in traffic. Have a good night, folks.